We tend to overestimate what we can get done in a day, but underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. Bill Gates. Are you tired of finishing a day of studying at university, but feeling like you haven't achieved anything or made progress on the important stuff? This is extremely common for all students, especially those with ADHD. And I used to actually suffer from this all the time myself. What I found is all it takes is 1 hour of solid work, working on the right thing, to really change the outlook of your entire day. And in this video, I'll give you 5 tips for productive goal setting at university with ADHD. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wahid. I'm a final year PhD student at the University of Oxford and a medical doctor in the UK's National Health Service. Here I share the lifestyle that I've built that helps me excel with ADHD and find the best techniques and gadgets to help you with your ADHD. I pay the ADHD tax so you don't have to. At university and more generally in life, each day brings with it its own challenges. With workload varying so much day to day, it's important to have a system in place to set goals for each day and to achieve them. There is a lot of focus on smart goals setting in UK universities, but what I found is it's actually heavily rinsed and not particularly practical for someone who's not neurotypical. So I was forced to come up with a more simpler framework for setting daily goals. Number 1, have the macro perspective on your life. Okay, let's get philosophical about this for a minute. ADHD means you're often too distracted that you can't see the wood for the trees. Before setting any daily goals, it's important to think long and hard about what your greater purpose is from your university experience. Do you want to rank in the top decile of your cohort academically? Would you rather gain corporate internships, take part in research, or perhaps set up your own startup business? Or would you rather focus on making lifelong connections? It's very important to gain a breadth of experiences at university to help you decide on this. It's also totally okay if you don't actually know what your greater purpose is, but you have to try to gain as varied an experience early at university to help you decide. It's important to try to commit to one of these even if you're not sure, so you can fully immerse yourself in it with ADHD. Okay, so now we've considered what could be the most important part of your life, or rather what the most important part of your life is right now, and we must appreciate the temporal aspect of this. It's now important to transfer this to your day. You can't be focusing on things that don't align with your values and aims in life. They must satisfy this key performance indicator, and the reason this is important is as humans we tend to work in seasons. There's seasons for ploughing, others for sowing, and others for harvesting. Often we try to do too many of these at once or have too many goals. You need to pick what your ideal life looks like, and the earlier you get there, the more time you'll have to focus on it. It's taken me 27 young years of age to realize that creating content is my life passion, and that's okay. I have complete clarity on this now, and all my time committing to other things will help me with this new goal. Have more modest goals. If you're being pulled in millions of different directions, it's easy to set an infinite number of daily goals, but I'd argue that in these circumstances, it's even more important for you to isolate a handful of things to focus on, things that rank above all else, and focus on this rather than letting the less important but more urgent tasks get in the way. If you set yourself 10 goals for a day and achieve only 5 of these, you'll go to sleep feeling like you haven't achieved anything, and this is something I've done on hundreds of days until I realized I was thinking about it all the wrong way. It's much better to set yourself, say, 3 things to do and then achieve 5. You'll go to sleep feeling a lot more accomplished with your day rather than hating yourself every night, and even if you just accomplish the 3 things, then jobs are good. And focus on the one thing. Now, what if we narrow this even further and only set a goal to achieve one thing? We can all achieve one important thing a day, right? And Gary Keller talks about this in his best-selling book, The One Thing, which I read about 6 years ago and which impacts me every day of my life till now. Gary has a criteria for defining the one thing you should focus on, and he poses it as a question which I ask myself daily. What's the one thing I could do such that by doing it everything else would be easier or unnecessary? As an NHS doctor, I'm frequently having to apply this to my patients. There's always more tasks from the ward than I could do in 2 days of work, but have to prioritize and find the one thing I need to be focusing on to help my sickest patients. In medicine, it's easy because my macro perspective is to essentially stop patients dying, so it's a brutal way of filtering all task lists and focusing on the sickest patients first. This can be hard at university and more generally in work life, but by having a macro perspective and thinking long and hard about your ultimate goal in life, you can decide what the one task you should focus on is. I normally write the one thing from each day on a post-it note and place it on my laptop so I know just what I need to focus on that day. Eat the frog first. What I struggle most with ADHD is actually getting started. Procrastination can stop you from even starting the most pressing task of your day and drowning it out with things that can wait. There's an important quote by Mark Twain which has helped me, and that's, if it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning, and if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. This quote influenced Brian Tracy in writing his best-selling book where he developed a productivity system called Eat the Frog. Brian talks at length about taking action immediately early in the morning on your one thing. If you have more than 1 frog, then eat the ugliest first. If you're able to make the first thing in your day the one thing you need to do, then regardless of what happens in the rest of your day, you'll have ticked off the highest priority task. It's important to clarify that the Eat the Frog approach isn't necessarily about doing the hardest task the first thing in the morning, it's about doing the highest priority task. Account for your fudge ratio. Now, once you've put in work towards your highest priority task, you've now got yourself a buffer to do some of the other tasks in your day. Time blindness with ADHD makes accurate time estimates for tasks very challenging. So I found that in setting the number of tasks to do in the remainder of my day, it's important to account for my fudge ratio. The fudge ratio is essentially how much longer tasks take you to do compared to how much time you estimated they would take you. I go through this in detail in a previous video. To watch this, click on the top right of your screen now. By accounting for your fudge ratio on a daily basis, you can stop setting yourself unrealistic and unachievable tasks, also leaving you time to do all the other important parts of your day outside of work and study. Okay, that's my 5 tips for setting productive daily goals with ADHD, working on the things that truly matter and feeling fulfilled at the end of each workday. For more videos on how I stay on top of my ADHD whilst being an NHS doctor and a PhD student at Oxford University, please subscribe for more and let me know in the comments what topic you want me to talk about next. Till next time.